Hello, everybody, and indeed, welcome to another edition of Hoosier Hometown Heroes. Today, it is my pleasure to have as a returning guest, Curt Whitesell. Curt is a full-service real estate broker specializing in commercial development land in Westfield, Indiana, and around Hamilton County, and Curt is the founder of WKRP Indy Real Estate Professionals. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Curt. Hoosier Hometown Heroes is sponsored by Prometheus Consulting. Prometheus is Indy's most trusted name in outsourced IT support. Curt Whitesell, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
You're known for so many things, a wide plethora. I think WKRP, yeah, right. Not enough time to cover all the Curt Whitesell bases. Yeah. Certainly WKRP Indy is what you are most known for. Right. I think I would be remiss if I didn't start out by asking, what's your assessment of the real estate market as we speak now?
My crystal ball, I don't think we're not a recession, those words, drop in the market doesn't happen. I think what happens is just different buyers for different times. Right now is a good time to be looking for little deals or looking to pick something up that the typical buyer doesn't want. Investors are doing a great job right now buying things that the development community would normally be buying. And I don't think they're stealing anything. I think they're getting a little bit of a cutback on it, but that's just their margin. And they understand that they're long plays. So as long as they can cover the interest rates or the difference there, they're doing it. From a residential standpoint, I watch a lot of new construction going on, and there is no drop in construction or new construction coming. And so I don't think we're going to drop in prices, but I do think we're not going to scream up anymore. I think we've probably plateaued.
Interesting.
But I say, I repeat this, I say buy the house. I say buy a house because you like a house. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And if you can't afford it today, well, you can't afford it maybe tomorrow. And so I just think there's a lot of fear out there, and everyone kind of positioning for what their interest is. And to me, residential real estate is just about a lifestyle. And I think we take it real serious sometimes.
Interesting. Now, I noticed on your Facebook feed, posting articles. I think you posted recently a Wall Street Journal article having to do with the whole kind of work from home movement.
Yeah.
And see, I feel like we have kind of fits and starts. It looks like employers are trying to get employees back into the office. Then I read about revolts. How is that affecting commercial real estate these days? Well, is it affecting residential real estate as well? I have no idea.
So I think like commercial real estate, I think it did change it. The office market is not gone forever, but it's dead how it was, and it's changed forever. A lot of employers, so like if you think a big insurance company that has an office with 200 people in it, they maybe took up 30,000 square feet out. I'm making up numbers here. But let's say they took up 30,000 feet. They're probably looking for a way to get down to 10,000 feet. And there's a lot of common workspaces. There's a lot of sharing. There's a lot of weird, scheduling where you reserve space. But the work from home thing, we proved that it can work. And people like me, I technically have always worked from home, right? And now I do think there's a group of people that should not work from home, and they need to be led. But I also think those are the ones that the bosses can probably force to come to work or replace. But I assume everybody works from home now.
Yes.
But on the residential side, in my world in Hamilton County, it seems like all the houses have a home office. And so I think a lot of the parents figured out how that door shut and really made it official and more professional. But I mean, think about backgrounds. I got banana trees in my background, and I've done a lot of these where it's pretty messy in the background. So I think we're paying attention to stuff like that. It's working to me.
Wait, so that's a real background, yes? That's
Yeah,
not.
I'm on my back porch.
I figured. I'm just thinking. You can grow
I got
banana
a
trees, and
banana tree.
that's amazing. I just thought Curt
In
Curt
Westfield, you
has
can.
the best
In
looking
Westfield,
green
you can.
screen I've ever seen. Yes, Westfield. So
No, that
you
would
have.
be sweet. No, this is where I live.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect you to live anywhere else other than Westfield. You're so known for
Okay.
Westfield.
Yeah.
There was a post on I think on your blog a while back about the reasons to join the Westfield Chamber of Commerce. If you had to
Okay.
pitch, what's your special pitch for joining the Westfield Chamber of Commerce?
Ooh. So I think we have a business involvement problem in Westfield. And so anytime a business is willing to jump in and not only show up for the chicken lunches, but actually engage and be a part of the networking events, host networking events, introduce new businesses, recruit new businesses, I think there's a huge opportunity for that in Westfield. Not many, think of all the realtors, right? 7,000 of them. They all go to lunch. They got the name badge. I'm making fun of it, even though I have a logo on. They got their name badge on, and you can see in their pocket, it's that wide because they have business cards. And
Yep.
they go to all say the same thing to someone else and sell real estate. But how about you join a chamber and try to build the chamber so that you have a greater network, and then you become leadership. And so I think there's a huge opportunity to be a professional in the community like Westfield and stand out and help. And so I enjoy that. There's the Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Westfield Association, and then also I've jumped in. I'm helping with the Northern Hamilton County Chamber of Commerce. So there's a lot. There's a lot of those places you can do well at. And I don't sell. I don't go to that thing to find clients. I go to be a part of it and hopefully spread the word about that it's a good spot to be.
Mm-hmm. Would you, now that you've been in business for coming up on 20 years, maybe, I know at least 15 years. Yes. WKRP
17 or 15 years. Yeah.
15.
Years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. 15.
Do you feel like you have built enough, do you have enough hindsight to say to the next, maybe a new business owner, hey, niche down, don't try and promote yourself to all of Indy. Maybe pick a smaller pond to swim in.
I am a fruit now. I am not retired, right? I'm not some highfalutin wealthy guy that can sail off into the sunset, but I have proven the model of market specifically, sell generally. I say get a niche so that you're memorable, so that people can identify you with something. So you're memorable in a very, very crowded space. All of us are in. None of us are doing a one-off thing really, so, but we meet a ton of us, and we have to differentiate ourselves. And so I would say, as niche as you can, buckle down and own that. I would rather have a hard start and then have this wonderful business than get some of these early wins that I could have chased some other stuff. But I wasn't that, I didn't know any better. But yeah, I would say niche. And, so we own a couple of Greek's pizzas.
Yes.
And I feel like it doesn't have a niche, and it's just pizza. Well, then when you talk to people, there's no other pizza at Ball State. It's got this Ball State University identity. And so, yes, it does have a niche. It's just not one that I'm in, right? I just don't know it. And so, and there's people that come to us because they know it as a Ball State pizza. They went to Ball State. And so, yes, something that someone can identify with, something that someone can own or relate to that's very specific will be much more valuable than trying to get business from everybody. I don't want to sell to everybody.
Yeah.
And when I meet a young person that wants to go into business or they're starting out and they say, you'll look at their real estate page and it shows every city in central Indiana that they serve. And you think, my God, can you imagine trying to drive to Canby, then Pendleton? You know, no, you can't. And so be realistic and definitely niche. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Niche.
glad you brought up. I'm glad you brought up your Greeks locations because because I wanted to ask you about them, and I think I've noticed that you have already started to figure out how to kind of fold them into almost like the Curt Whitesell circus, right? And here's what I mean by this.
I like that.
You're big on causes, you're big on community,
Yep.
and so you have this way, I notice on your Facebook page, you'll support a cause, and now it's, guess what, they get your pizza, that's,
Mm-hmm.
or you're hosting an event there. You gave a talk to some students not too long ago, and you said I bribed them with t-shirts and pizza,
Yeah.
so
What else do you want? Yep.
yeah. So do you have this, were you thinking in those terms when you thought we're going to go ahead and invest in a couple of pizzerias? Were you thinking of the possibilities?
No, that was an accident. No, no. But I was thinking of, no, I was thinking of, wouldn't mind owning a food place in downtown Westfield. And I
Yeah.
also was thinking, my wife, um, she's, I don't know how to say if she wants to work there. She needs to work there. I don't know. Wife need a job. And then I've got these kids growing up that are coming up, that how cool would it be to have a place for them? I get to be with my family all the time. And so I thought that was cool. Let me tell you something, though, that I've experienced in Sheridan. Um, so we get that opened up. I've discovered there's this, they call them all kinds of things. My car wash gang, the Greeks gang, Kurt's little posse. But there's a bunch of little kids that run around Sheridan and they're just goofing off. They're on bikes. It's like this world that used to exist. And in Westfield, there's not a bunch of kids riding around downtown on their bikes or just hanging out on the curb. And I've started befriending them, right? And they're young kids, and I'll have them work around like a building, and I give them a pizza. Um, all of them are welcome to walk in and get a Coke on our fountain machine. I'm not going to charge them for that. And what it's become is, first of all, these kids get to experience a cool place. I think the Greeks in Sheridan is different than what else is there necessarily. So they get to be in there. They also get to know someone, another professional on a human level in town. Um, I like it when a high school kid says, "How did you start your business?" Or "I want to start a business. Do you have any advice?" Well, now I've got these 10-year-old kids that I hope that someday they talk to me or Bob or another customer in the restaurant. It grows their network. And it has been wonderful to me to be able to be a part of that. And they're just a nice bunch of kids, and they're a lot more fun than adults. So being able to use that resource to me, which is basically a zero in dollars, and have an effect, hopefully an impact on these kids, has been pretty cool.
That's really neat. I'll share with you, Curt. It's occurred to me, as I get older, and I still think strategically as a business owner, how am I going to keep feeding business to Prometheus, when I'm too old to go to networking events? And it occurred to me, I need to somehow figure out who's going to be the future, CFOs and CEOs around town. But like when they're in high school, and just whatever, do favors. I don't know if that means, support the baseball team, the hockey team, which you also do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that they'll remember you when they're leading organizations.
They do. Have you ever been involved in a local high school since you were in high school?
Not really. No.
So I wasn't involved in my high school when I was in high school, but I think I would have eaten it up if a local professional would have come in and talked to us or been my friend. And at Westfield, Mr. Moore has an entrepreneurship class. And then the guy previously had an idea farm, which was just like this incubator thing. And they did a Shark Tank type thing. And I've invested in those companies. I've spent money. I've hired them. I've connected them. And it's the coolest thing when they come to you. outwardly doing this. They'll come to you and say, "Hey, you came and spoke in my class," and they friend you on. I'll get a LinkedIn connection from a high school kid, and I'll think, "What's they're getting ready to ask for something? How great is this? That's what I want." And
Yeah.
so all of a sudden, I get a message, and it's a really poorly written message, but in it, they're saying, "Hey, can you meet with me sometime, or can you offer? You have any advice?" And I love that, and and I think they do remember. I really
Yeah.
do think they do. So
Yeah. That's happened to me a few times over the years.
mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, I've never spoken at a high school, but I have spoken to college classes a fair bit.
Uh-huh.
It seems like each time I go, at least one student will walk up to me afterwards and just say, "Oh my gosh, we need to
Uh-huh.
be friends."
Right.
And yeah, I think as an entrepreneur, that is what you want to see,
Uh-huh.
because that's what makes the world go around.
It is. And you bring pizza and t-shirts.
Yes. Now, see, that's where you set yourself apart, Curt. I don't know that I would ever spring for custom T-shirts for speaking to a
Uh-huh.
class, but you be
It's a
you.
small investment. It's a small investment for my own joy and for one social media post. So,
Yes. No. Very well done. Very well done. Well, I think this really boils down to my feeling is there's something about uh our community. There's something about Indiana, to be honest. I grew up, I was raised in Chicago, born in Bloomington, Indiana, but
mm-hmm.
raised in Chicago. And it took me about a week of living in Indianapolis. I moved here in 2000, and
Mm-hmm.
I just saw, oh my gosh, this place is different. This is small town. This is a big city, but it somehow with small town values.
It is. It's a
And I
cool
think,
place.
yeah, these stories about, you witnessed that as a kid. It sounds
Mm-hmm.
like you remember those days when
I'm
you
not from
used.
here. I moved here in 2000. So
Did you
same time
really?
you did. Yeah, we might have been on the same road coming in.
Oh my gosh, did you still
Yeah.
have the ponytail back then, or had you cut it
I had,
off?
I had, I had longer hair, but not a ponytail. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So I was
Well,
growing up slowly.
yeah. So somewhere in your childhood, you remember a time when, kids used to roam around and
Mm-hmm.
interact with adults. And
Yep.
yeah, I can remember the same thing, local, like we had a local bookstore in
Mm-hmm.
downtown Lisle, Illinois. It was just the
Mm-hmm.
place to hang out.
Yeah.
It was like a little coffee shop bookstore thing. And uh,
Where I grew up in Battle Creek, Michigan. We lived in just a normal neighborhood and everybody did that stuff. And then my dad was a pastor. And so I remember as a kid, after church or before church or any event, we, you know, parents are talking, right? How boring is that? But it was like we were allowed to be a part of the conversation. I remember standing at my dad's leg and the guy or whoever he's talking to would make you part of the conversation. And I love that. I think it's important. So I may not have heard a word during the message, but I felt like there's this cool community and I really valued that.
yeah, that's neat. And I can tell you're one of those guys, you're paying it forward. You're leaving a mark, a legacy, I think. And I guess
Oh,
today's show.
I've left a mark. I've left a mark here. Yep.
No, it's all good. And today's show is just one little page in that book of your legacy. So I thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure
Mhm.
talking with you. How can people get a hold of you or follow you? Keep it in touch with what you're doing, Curt.
So I'm all over social media. Everything's at WKRPND or WK at WKRPND. My company is WKRP Indy Real Estate. I am on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. What I tell people is if you want to engage and have fun and you're sarcastic, I think social media is a great place to be. And I think it's a lot of fun and I don't take it too seriously. I'm not a let's argue about politics guy on social media. And so if someone wants to follow along, it's great. I sprinkle a little bit of real estate, family, and Westfield in there, but um, yeah, I'd love to have people hanging out. If anybody wants to meet up sometime, I love that. We can do Zoom calls or coffees or whatever. Open to it.
Excellent. Curt Whitesell, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.